Okay, so um, I decided to exercise more so that I can improve my chances of making successful day trades. And I believe that's the only thing that's missing at this point. Um, so I believe now I have the winning edge. I believe I have the winning edge now. I believe that I have perfected the winning edge that will give me the opportunity to make money in the stock market. Now, now that I know the formula for winning, I need to practice on as many stocks as possible so that I can make it as fluid as possible without any rust interfering with the transactions that I will make. So for this video video, what I plan to do is to go through the exercise of uh, one by one, going through the watch list on my radar, and then make decisions on what I will do. So this will give me the practice of moving on, or waiting, or making the trade, and then selecting that trade, and then sitting through it. Okay, so now I have Apple here, which has been a historically an interesting stock to get into. So the morning started out like this. I'm looking at this, and I can already see that it has taken off, which means that I would not be touching this stock. However, I looked at the here. So if I was somewhere around here, I would have maybe bought a put because this is indicating to me, as you can see, right? Do you see that, right? So I would be here, and I would ride this down, and I would have been making money on this. Okay, that's the first one. Now the second one, if I look at here, and I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at this peak to peak here, and then as soon as it came up, I would be sitting through here and not knowing what to do because this would be sitting in a channel, and I would not be able to make any money off of it. So I would skip this. I'm looking at the I'm looking at the Dow and the Nasdaq to see the path, and I'm also looking at the VIX to see how the VIX and these three components are interacting with the stock. So I go to AMD next, and I look at the 1 minute chart, and this looks promising right here. So this tells me that I would have had a high probability that I would have entered here maybe because I'm looking at the Nasdaq, and AMD is part of the Nasdaq, and it's actually doing uh, a a pennant here on the Nasdaq, and so I would be careful. But if I had to get in here, I would have been in here, and this I may have chosen this stock to get into, and so there could have been some gain. So if I look at Amgen, I would not be touching the stock uh, it's exhibiting this particular characteristics of bouncing off the bottom here and maybe perhaps recovering. Uh, uh, it is possible that it'll flow through this and it'll end up just going sideways. So I'll avoid that. For Amazon, it's too expensive, so I won't touch that for now. And Avago is demonstrating something here as it exhibited it. However, when it dropped off here, it's showing signs that it is most likely it'll just go sideways. So I'll avoid that. Now, Boeing is a very interesting one. And so I analyzed this, and I believe that these two characteristics right here would indicate that this stock will start to go up. And sure enough, it made a small increase here. And if I were to take some profit, this would be the point where I would take some profit. Even if it goes up, this is the point, because this is telling me that it bounced off here, and most likely it'll do this, right? Throughout the day, it'll probably do this, and it maybe it might do this towards the end of the day, but this is a safe point to take a profit, so I'll be out. Now the next interesting thing is, okay, so now this stock is showing some uh, interesting characteristics of perhaps now buying is occurring. And so if I wanted to make a few cents off of this, and if I had maybe multiple shares, then I might be able to make a significant amount of gain. However, anytime there's a steep drop like this, what it would tend to do is it'll oscillate a little bit, and the first bounce will be higher in magnitude, and it'll subside and it'll subside. And maybe towards the end of the day, it might start to increase. So I don't foresee this stock with movements that is small making such a large movement towards gain in the day. So here, I would have been very interested in this position right here. And that would have indicated to me, as I saw that, and it's at about this point here, it has confirmed to me that it wants to go down today, as is apparent, and VIX is going up. And so if I were to have taken a trade on this, I would have risked my trade on this, and I would most likely have gained some percentages based on the sell here. On the next one here, I would have avoided this. I saw this here. Now that I see this, it's too steep at this point. What I might be able to see is maybe a head and shoulders formation, and this might be the neckline here, and it's falling through here. It might descend even more here. So this one has an interesting characteristic, so it's best to avoid it until I understand that a lot more. So when I look at here, this is a very interesting setup. This is an oil stock, and this is exhibiting the characteristics of rebounding. And if I were to make a purchase on here, I would most likely get out at this point by wading through and then looking through here. But if it lags behind and consolidates somewhere in between, I would sell off, and that would be it. This one I would avoid. It looks interesting. It seems to be exhibiting, but I would wait a little bit before I enter. Now this is an interesting one. I would avoid this. I would avoid this for now, as everything is indicating to me. Even though there's some stability in the Dow, and Disney is the Dow component as well, it is not exhibiting the characteristics of the stock being bought by other individuals. And therefore, most likely, either it's going to shoot up sharply, or it's going to bounce around a little bit and drift a little bit, and then establish a base and then come back up. I would not be touching this until a base is established. Any spike up just like this right here, it is possible that it's going to drop. So if I look at Facebook here, this is also showing the same characteristics. However, I'm seeing this pennant here, and it most likely, this stock will sit somewhere in a channel, and then possibly later on there might be a consolidation somewhere here, and once that consolidation occurs, it might have an opportunity to climb back in. Now this is a formation that I would be interested in getting into. Unlike this, see there's a consolidation right here, right? There's a consolidation. This consolidation is narrow. This is also showing a characteristics of what we call maybe a double bottom and maybe a cup and handle kind of a formation, this is a bullish indicator. And this setup will allow me to go long somewhere around here when it establishes a better trend. And I am looking for something like that to occur on there. And then here's another one. Now this one is an interesting one. It has a steep decline, it has a spike, and it's going up. This will most likely just go sideways, I'm thinking. So I'll avoid that. There isn't really a, I don't see it. I don't see an indication that it's actually, it looks like it's going up. It looks like. I have to keep an eye on it and see what happens to that one. And as well as bank stocks, as you can see here, this is forming a nice pattern. I mean, if I wanted to get in here, I'd be in right here. This thing typically moves about $2 on an average each day. So if I had a choice, I'd get in here. And based on what I'm seeing so far, I will most likely make money on this guy right there. If I were to get in here, at the end of the day, I look back on it, chances of this dropping off would be difficult. And if it does, I mean, there's some major occurrence would have occurred. As you can see, the spike is going up. I mean, I'd be immediately in the money at this point. This would be like an A plus. If I were to describe something, this would be an A plus setup. Plus the fact that it's going to gain maybe $1, maybe $1.50. I'm thinking this would be a go-to setup for me. So if I look at this stock here, it's in a channel. This is frightening. I've seen this before. This type of a setup where it goes up, 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 up. It tests, and it just crashes. So most likely, I would tend to see this. I would think that this, for the time being, it will probably head down lower. And if so I would think that it's going to keep going down lower. I have to check back at the end of the day and see what happens, but most likely it's going to go down. So if I look at maybe a couple more, if I look at a couple more here, PYPL is an interesting stock. Okay, so this is a very frightening stock. As you can see here, as it has this trend and it's forming a base here, this is, you can see that it went up 1, 2, 3 times. So I mean, I could be in here expecting this to occur and then just be burnt. So I would not touch that. And based on what's going on here in the technology stocks and what's doing here, I'm biasing towards this side. So even if it looks like it's establishing a support area, and I'm hoping that it might go up this way, but I conclude that it'll most likely go down the rest of the day. So I would be looking to short that sucker. So here, this is UAL, and it's behaving very nice. It's called this is shaping out to be something called a inverse head and shoulders. So right here would be the shoulders, and if it dips down and then climbs back up, or maybe it dips a little bit and then it does this, just like the other stock, and it's showing this Dow component here, and there isn't major news that are impacting this. I'd imagine it's going to do something here, and I would not be surprised if it hits somewhere around here, either a little bit later or maybe towards the end of the day. So when I look at this stock here, this is similar to JP Morgan. This is a bank stock, and this Wells Fargo has some legal things, and I have to be very careful about it. And sometimes these news occur more so than it should. And so if I'm holding a substantial amount of shares and this thing rips to the other side, and it's possible, all my gains will be gone. So I have to be careful with this. So I would be looking to uh, I would be looking to go long on this stock based on what I'm seeing right now. But this is a little bit something must be interfering with the stock, and so it has its own news. It looks like because the Dow component is going up, and this should be indicating up based on it. But something might mute the effect and might go sideways there. Walmart is also a very, very volatile stock. Uh, it can go up, it can go down, it can just go sideways. Incredibly unpredictable. However, if I want to safely take a quick scalp, I might be looking at taking profit somewhere around here. If it goes past here, something drastic could happen, something like this. So based on what I'm seeing here, it's going to higher lows up here and higher highs. And so I predict that this channel will most likely be broken and will most likely allow a gain of this magnitude at this point. So if I look here, this is also a very interesting stock here. This is a very, very scary stock. This could drop for days, and it can drop like 5 to 10% in one day. However, when it goes up, it also goes up 5 to 10% in a day. This is also showing some very positive effects. It looks like it had weathered the storm of its effects of the market. However, it's lagging behind in this recovery, and therefore so most likely what it will do is it'll just bounce around in the channel. I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. So this has been a practice in me reading the charts to make the decision prior to entering into the stock. What this will help me is it'll give me the opportunity to practice patience, and when I do get in, then I have a well thought out plan in mind so that I can take proper action. And I suspect that after these exercises, I will have less surprises. And if there are surprises, then it'll be on the positive and large positive side.